It's still spinning. Yes! Yes! Hello, everyone. Been having technical difficulties trying to get this to broadcast, but now we're here. So, sorry we're 5 minutes late. Alright, today we are talking about cosmic encounters. Here we go again.
Yay!
Yay! This is Sonia, and I'm here with Robert and Tony. I don't think anything broadcasted, but a question I started with was, what was everyone's first impression when you first played the game back a long time ago when we all first played Cosmic Encounter? So, I guess Tony can go ahead and continue with if you remember.
Okay, I'll try my best. I guess it seemed like there was a lot of just interaction in the game. You really just
That's okay.
So it seemed like every single turn was an opportunity for something to happen, like pretty major. I guess the first few turns not so much, but the game, like after the first two turns, really picks up, and then just everybody has to sort of interact with each other to keep somebody from winning, you know. And I thought it was just I like that that much interaction where you just even though it's not your turn, like everybody else's turn, you're still participating in some point. So that was my first impression, I think.
Hmm.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. It did something clever. I was typing and it said it turned my mic off because I was typing. So I was like,
That's a
oh,
new feature,
that's
I think.
cool, and now it's back on. I'm sorry, go ahead, Sonia. You were going to say something?
Okay. Gosh. I actually, when I first played it, I didn't like it. I was really frustrated by it because I don't know, like it was the first time I played a game where you like pit yourself against everybody, but in a way that's kind of really like backstabby, and I don't know, like I wasn't sure at first, and things got heated, and people would get upset at the beginning when you weren't really sure what you were doing, and you had all this stuff with the aliens, that all these things that you had to learn about the character you were playing, and it just I don't know. At first I didn't like it, but then when I got used to it, I did enjoy it. I enjoyed kind of like conquering and fighting against each other, and I really like the different diversity in the aliens and all their abilities and everything. But my first impression, actually, when I first played it, I wasn't sure if I wanted to play it again. But I gave it a second chance, and I liked it better after that. So I will say that was my first impression. But now I like it a lot because it has a lot of replayability, and that's what I really like about it.
I agree. I actually have a similar kind of first impressions. I had always heard a lot about the game, mostly just that it was supposed to be a really good game, and that a lot of people recommended it. A lot of people hailed it as one of the best board games ever made. You know, a lot of really positive things. And the first time I played it, I did not see much of any of that, and it was really baffling because I was just thinking, how can so many people say this is such a, amazing high quality game, and yet it didn't seem to show that. But the first time I played it afterwards, I felt like there must have been something I was missing, or there was something there, and I kind of felt like there was something there. I just had to kind of figure that out. And after playing it a few times, I actually discovered, exactly why a lot of people say it's such a great game. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that it took me a little while to get past all the, just the learning curve. You know, it's a very technical game, and you know, you can get kind of bogged down by, you know, all the phases and knowing when to play something and if something's better to play at a certain time, you know, making allies, the social aspect, all of that. But once you kind of get that figured out, and most of the people I play games with now know how to play to a certain degree, now it's a you know, very, very different experience than the first time.
Hmm. I think every experience too, when you play it, depending on the aliens that you get, can be good or bad. Sometimes, like, you'll have it where there's two aliens that, you know, when you pit them against each other, they like cancel each other out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not always that fun, and it can get confusing. And sometimes I don't like those games as much as I like the games where it feels like there's more of a balance between the aliens, that they kind of have very different abilities. So there's no like extreme conflict of between like a character that not necessarily has a similar ability, but has an ability that kind of like cancels out the other one and just kind of takes away that experience a little bit. Um,
And I've heard
but
that
yeah.
argument before. I personally haven't played as an alien that was canceled out by another yet. I've played in games where that scenario's existed,
Mhm.
and so I'm sure I'd have a different opinion if I had actually experienced it firsthand.
Yeah, I
But
didn't actually experience it first. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, no, that's okay. But my whole point is that I don't mind the fact that some aliens cancel each other out, because
Mm.
typically, or I should say, generally, it's you know, it's only when they're fighting each other. The rest of the time, their abilities are pretty much functional. And to me, that can kind of, while it's not as interesting as having two active abilities during combat, having two abilities that cancel each other out is rare enough that it's just another possible scenario in, you know, while playing the game. But I'm
Yeah.
sure I'd have a different opinion if I was actually playing.
Right.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think I had that experience either. But I've been in games where it's been played, and I think if I had been in their shoes, I would have probably been a little frustrated.
yeah, for sure. I was just wondering, when you guys first played, I don't know if you both play at the same time, but how many people were playing? Do you remember?
I think like four, maybe.
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5. It was a
Yeah.
smaller group.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, that's still pretty big. I was just
Yeah.
wondering because I feel like the game might not be as interesting when you have less people.
Hmm.
I'm not sure
Yeah,
though.
I I think I've not played very many 3-player games.
Hmm.
That was certainly not as interesting as like the 8-player games.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
which is actually one of the things I love about this game is the fact that it a lot of games, the more people you add, the longer it takes, the more complicated it gets, and sometimes it's almost not worth it. You know, a lot of games you'll hear have like a sweet spot. You know,
Hmm.
if a game can have 10 people playing, the sweet spot's like maybe 5 or 6. But with this, I legitimately feel like the game gets better the more people that you have.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is due to the fact that the game is built in such a way that really everyone has an opportunity to be doing something on anybody's turn. So they're not sitting and waiting for their turn to happen. So that's a huge benefit, and it doesn't necessarily extend the duration of the game because victory because everyone can kind of play on everyone's turn, it means that everyone is ultimately working towards victory even when it's not their turn. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I love about this game too, is that it's like you were saying, if it's not your turn, you still get to play. And there are some games where you'll have like 8 people and they don't have that mechanic. So you're just waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting for your turn, and I can't stand that. I get bored and I get antsy and I'm just like, oh, I want to play so badly. I feel like I'm just watching other people play. And
Yeah.
in this, it's like there's a chance they could attack you. There's there's a chance that you could ally with a person, and that's more exciting. I
Yeah.
think, when you're able to do that. I don't know. Oh, were you going to the bathroom?
No, I was closing the door.
Oh, okay.
Every time I leave the door open, dogs end up barking or some kind of crazy noise happens. So I was just preempting that.
Okay. So I guess to elaborate on the gameplay and everything, what do you think about the mechanics of the game and how it's played, and without the expansions and with the expansions, or you could just say with whatever you want to talk about, I guess.
Oh man.
Think of it.
Well, I know that I played the game. I think I played the game without the expansions, and then I think I ended up playing it with all the expansions. I think I got them all at the same time. So it wasn't. I couldn't really say how they were individually. Well, that's not entirely true. I do have some opinions about them individually. But I think for the most part, the mechanics for the game are great for what they need to do. Part of me wants to believe that it could be simplified a little bit, or at least clarified, so that there would be less technicality, a lot less, procedure to worry about, or at least make that clearer. I mean, on the back of the manual, I think I have it, or the rule book. On the back of the rule book, it has like all the phases and stuff on it, which is helpful. It might be even more helpful if everyone had this available to them, and if there were more details in there, like for example with the expansions. With one of the expansions, it includes technology, which you're allowed to basically research a technology before or at the beginning of your turn, right? But it's before the regroup phase, I believe, which is like, I don't know if you can see it, but the first phase is the regroup phase. So a lot of people forget to do technology. And I almost feel like if everyone had that in front of them and it had a full reference sheet with all of the expansions included, that might help a little bit. I mean, for the most part, it works out really well. I mean, there's a lot of mechanics. I could go into a lot of them, but for the most part, I think, part of the reason the game is successful is it's very structured, and so then it comes down to just the social aspect. But I do like the mechanics for the most part, and I think they're well done.
Okay. I guess I'll talk. I think I really like the mechanics of being able to ally with each other and well, I guess like I said before, like interact with each other, because it just really makes it a big part of the game where you can, play while it's somebody else's turn, and it just makes it so. Like one of the things that the game can be sort of scary when you have like a ton of people with is that you think, oh, I'm never going to get a turn. Like, the person that goes first is, to your right, and then so it goes around the table before you ever get a turn. But the thing is that not only is everybody able to interact, but basically because there's so many people, Robert, your screen just went to your picture.
No, you can't
I can
see
see
me.
him.
Well, for me, anyways. Sorry.
Oh,
anyways,
okay.
so it also makes it so the game kind of slows down a little bit near the end. When everybody's getting to the 4 victory points, near the 5, then people are trying to slow each other down. So somebody doesn't win. So you usually get 1 or 2 turns, and it just allows everybody to play the game all the time. So
Robert, sorry.
So that's, I think that's the best mechanic for the game. I also like the huge amount of alien races in the game. It just allows you to play it,
especially with the
tons of time.
expansions. I mean,
Right,
it's
yeah.
like ridiculous. I've only played maybe 20 of them, or I mean, not myself, but in games I've played, and because we have so many expansions, I don't think I'll ever see them all.
Right,
And
yeah.
I mean, I almost feel like I guess you could do this, but to take out the ones you've played and just, yeah, that's insane. To
Yeah.
just take out the ones you've played and cycle through it so you get to experience all of them, even if you're not doing it yourself.
I just made the house rule that, like, because at the beginning of the game you're dealt out basically two aliens to choose from, and I've basically made the house rule that if either of the aliens is an alien you've played as before, you can ask for it to be swapped out. And I think of all the games I've played, I've only had someone ask once to do that.
I think it was probably me. Because I was like, no, I don't want to play this one again.
But granted the I do still see the same aliens pop up, but it's other people playing them, and they haven't played them before. And it's neat to see what other people do with those aliens, if they use their powers more aggressively or even cooperatively. And I'm still encountering aliens that just kind of blow my mind. I mean, I think when I got the game and each of the expansions, I read through all the aliens, but because there's so many, I kind of just glossed over them. But there's some that I've encountered that just are absolutely crazy. The butler was probably one of the most bizarre experiences I had ever played with that game. I don't know if either of you guys played the game with the butler.
I don't think I played with the butler.
Enlighten
us. What happened with the butler?
So the butler totally changes the way the game's played, kind of. Basically, the person who is playing as the butler has to serve the player whose turn it is, basically. So if it's my turn or if it's Sonia's turn and I'm the butler, during the regroup phase, she has the option to retrieve a ship from the warp. That's what everyone gets to do at the beginning of their turns, is retrieve a ship from the warp, the regroup phase. But the butler is required during that phase, in every phase, to basically, or during the regroup phase, the butler has to go, would you like me to retrieve your ship for you? They actually request that. And
so it's like almost like a servant kind of.
Yeah, it's like a servant.
Yeah.
And so there's things that happen if the butler doesn't ask and do their job. So for example, if I'd have to know for sure, but it's like if the butler doesn't ask the person if they can help them with something, the person can call them on it. And if they do, it's like they have to pay some kind of compensation. However, if the butler offers to help the person and they deny the help, then the butler gets compensation from them.
Well, that's cool. So then they pretty much always have to do something.
Yeah, the butler.
So they don't lose something, but if somebody says no, then they get something.
But the other benefit is as long as the butler is helping somebody, the butler continues to get benefits.
That's cool.
And so it's this real kind of symbiotic, bizarre kind of support role thing, and I think it even applies for when the player who the butler is assisting is even his enemy. He still has to be his butler. It's like
that's weird.
It's like he flips over his card and he's attacking him, and the butler's like, "Would you like me to assign ships for you to attack my planets?" Or I don't know. It's very bizarre. And what made it even more wild was the fact that our friend Blake was the one who got that card, and he's very loud and energetic, and he was all over that role. He had so much fun with that role, and I think we all enjoyed it as well because he was playing it. So that was a good one.
There is I thought I know there's probably more, but there is another alien that kind of has like a symbiosis aspect to it. I can't think of what it was, and I might have played it.
The plant?
Maybe. I don't
'Cause
think
I
I
know,
played the plant, but I guess that's another one.
yeah.
Oh, there's the healer, I think, where you can like prevent people's ships from getting destroyed, but you get cards for each time you do it.
Yeah, I
So
think
like
I played that
people are
character.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that
healer.
one's
But then
kind of
there was one
symbiotic.
that I think it was like the fungus or something,
Yeah.
Oh, that one's
where
me.
I think it's a bad one though, but no, maybe
Yeah.
that's not
It's
symbiotic
it's
then. That's
well,
more
it's every
parasitic.
time the fungus is every time ships are destroyed in combat that the fungus is present in or something like that.
Mm.
Those ships are gained like by the fungus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like fungus ships, and that's a really nasty one.
Someone played that. I wasn't playing it, but I knew someone did, and
Yeah.
yeah, that was like, oh god.
And then
Yeah, you don't want them to ever win because if they do, they eat like 10 chips, and you're like, oh, what do we do now?
and that actually brings up an interesting point. The other thing, when I first started playing the game, after the first couple games, I was so frustrated by the idea that there were so many just seemingly broken alien abilities. Just they were so powerful, you know, to the point where you didn't understand how is that even fair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the fungus. You know, the way the
Yeah.
fungus works, it's so vicious. And there's another one I think called the virus, which has just other horrible side effects to it.
And then some that I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
And then there's some that they're not like they're not like violent or anything or parasitic or whatever, but like characters like the loser or the pacifist.
Yeah.
You know, if they do badly or poorly, then they're either winning. Well, the pacifist, if they totally die, everything gets destroyed, then they win. So it's kind of like it can go that way too.
Yeah, but like the first couple times I played and I saw all these characters, I also thought like, how could this possibly be one of the best games ever made if it's so unbalanced? So I actually did some research into that. I was just curious, you know. This was a point in time when I was just trying so hard to understand why this game was so popular, and of course before I understood. But when I looked it up, I actually found an article or something about how the designer of the game, the original designer of the game, admits openly that he intentionally created alien race abilities that were more powerful than others. They're intentionally unbalanced. And when I first read it, I was like, that doesn't make any sense at all. You know, that goes against everything, you know, as a designer that you're supposed to do. However, his logic behind it was the fact that because the game's so cooperative and there's a lot of choice made in the game regarding like who you ally with, what it creates is this interesting dynamic where when someone gets an alien race card that's more powerful or seems more dangerous than another one, people will just naturally team up on that person, or they will hesitate to ally with them because they don't want them to win. They don't want them to get that advantage, and so it actually creates an asymmetrical experience instead of a very symmetrical one, but one that really kind of balances itself out. The only danger with that is the fact that when you first start playing, like myself, and you don't understand that, you can actually be overwhelmed by it because everyone's kind of playing on the same level.
That's true.
I think your audio in your video is kind of like not syncing right.
Mine?
Robert?
My audio?
Yeah.
Video? Let me reset.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to like interrupt that. It was kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
I don't know, like
How about now?
say some more?
Is this better than it was
Yeah.
before?
Yes.
Okay.
It's matching now. Okay.
Huzzah!
Yay. We're still on gameplay mechanics, aren't we? Sorry,
I guess
it's just
so.
kind of.
There's a lot of them.
It's
Yeah,
a
oh my
conversation, you know.
Yeah.
One of my favorite aspects of the game is that multiple people can win together, and that can be fun. And then sometimes, okay, sorry. That can be fun, and sometimes it can suck for like the one person that doesn't win.
I suppose on his water.
But I really like when people win together. And you know, you can get your allies to win together. Like if you ally with me, we'll win together. It's kind of fun.
Right.
And I really like that aspect of it. It's not like just one person or everybody fails, or you know, there's so many opportunities to succeed or to fail, and I like that. And then, you know, going back to the whole, you know, the aliens not being completely balanced, that leaves a lot of room for different experiences, and you know, the opportunity to have an alien that might be kind of hard to play because it's not really very good compared to other ones, but then it kind of forces you maybe to be a little more clever in who you're going to be allying with. I mean, it might even make the game to where, you know, you might just have to ally with somebody and have to win together. You're not going to win alone because you have such an overpowered character that you know, can't really defeat unless you team up with somebody. And I like that because every game is different, every strategy is different depending on what you're getting, and I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I
I just want to say, Sonia, I think your mouth wasn't syncing up either. It seems
Oh, really?
like somebody's talking for a while. It starts slowing down. I don't know why.
Oh, you know,
I
it
don't know
might
if you
be.
noticed it, Robert.
Now I kind of notice it when I look at mine. It's really slow.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I don't know. It might just be Google Hangout.
I'm not sure how do I reset it? Do I just turn it off and put it back on? My own camera? Or will that mess up the whole broadcast?
I just muted myself and muted my camera, and then reversed that. How about now?
How's that?
Looks
I think it's
fine.
better. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's still broadcasting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It is still
Awesome.
on.
Yay. Okay. Ooh, you're adding Google effects?
Maybe you can tell I'm adding Google effects.
It said it.
It said you added
it
Google
up there.
effects.
You can't do it secretively. So.
I was trying to sneak it in, but
You're trying to sneak in a mustache, weren't you?
no. I just wanted to make some sound effects.
Oh, I'm sorry, I ruined it.
Anyways,
Oh, Robert.
proceed.
Oh, wait, hold on.
No.
Sorry.
Oh boy.
No, you don't.
Yes.
Hold on.
There goes the rest
No,
of the
yeah.
broadcast. Now it's all going to be Google.
Yeah,
I know. It's just going to be sound
because
effects.
I am so fantastic. What do you think out there? So dumb. Oh, okay. Anyways, I guess back to the conversation at hand, I suppose. Of the aliens that you've played, which one, if you remember, was your favorite, and for what reason?
I think for me, I think I played the mirror alien. Is that the one that you switch the numbers around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I
one's
like
a tough
that
one.
because it gives you a lot of mind games with the person. You know, it's like if the person, because you get to choose whether you want to do it or not. So you know, if the person assumes that you're going to do it, they might put like a 09 number, and then you can just put like a number 20 and say, nope, I'm not going to do it, and you just kill them.
Yeah.
I
fall for that one every single
powerful.
time.
Yeah.
I just fail every time. I'll go, oh god, not the mirror again. I'm so gonna fail. It's just so dumb. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I know what's going on, but then I forget. And then I forget when I'm like, yeah, I got like a 40, I'm gonna win, and it's like, no, it's a 4. I'm like, oh god, I
Oh, when you're like
forgot.
facing the mirror person?
Yeah, because I've never
Yeah.
been in the mirror myself. I've only ever faced the mirror.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, that was fun for me. I liked it a lot.
Who did I like? Trying to remember.
Yeah, there's so many.
I
I
don't
played
know.
the general one time. I can't remember what the general did. But I did play the loser, and I think the loser was, gosh, where, oh, if you lose, you automatically win. Isn't that the loser?
Hold on, I just passed it. Let me see.
It's the cute little kitty-looking thing, which is part of why I like it too.
Yeah, here we
'cause
go.
It's cute.
You have the power to upset. As a main player, before encounter cards are selected, you may use this power to declare the upset, or an upset. Once an upset has been declared, both main players may play attack cards, if possible. Then after cards are revealed, the winning side loses and the losing sides win. So it basically
Yeah.
switches.
Yeah, I kind of like the loser in that aspect of it because it's sort of like the mirror with you're switching it, but it's more like you're switching winning and losing. So
yeah, that's true.
I know it's kind of cheap. It's kind of like an instant win, but
Not really.
it can be fun.
No,
Not necessarily, yeah. If they
it
negotiate,
makes like the
then-
lower cards worth. The lower cards win and the higher cards lose. So
yeah.
if somebody has a bunch of 1s and they face the loser, then they're probably going to win against them. Were you able to choose with the loser, or does it just happen automatically?
I think you have to. I think it's optional if you want it to happen.
Okay.
I don't think it's mandatory.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
actually,
I like how some of the things are mandatory and
Okay.
optional on the cards. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes you're forced to do your power, which you don't necessarily always want to do, but, that's just the game. And then
Right.
sometimes it's optional where it's like, well, maybe I really don't want to do that right now because I feel like the mirror, you might have a really high card and decide, well, it's very unlikely they're going to, like, if you have a 40 that they're going to have, something
Right. They can
bigger
do
than that. So you might not even bother with the whole switching around thing. So
Yeah.
I like that
Yeah,
too.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm looking through them. I'm trying to find ones that. I mean, there's fun. There's ones that are just kind of funny, but I can't think of one that I played as that really
Really liked it.
really liked.
Now there are definitely ones out there that came in the expansions that I really want to play, and I haven't gotten to play yet. And I actually have them next to me. So I'm going to share that. I really want to play the Horde because they look like peeps.
Space
But they're really like creepy because they got like little faces underneath. It's like they're like these cute little things that are being disguised as these creepy things.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
like right. See, oh, there it
Yeah,
is.
it's like
So creepy. Anyways, it says you have the power to spawn. Each time you draw a card or retrieve a ship from the warp, use this power. Add a Horde token to one of your colonies. Treat Horde tokens as ships under your control, but discard them if sent to the warp. Removed from the game or captured by another player. If you lose this power, Horde tokens remain until discarded. Your power cannot be stolen or copied through any means. So there's a character that can copy. It's Mimic. So I guess Mimic would be like null against this one. And it's mandatory. So you have to... You just get bigger and bigger and bigger. You're just like this crazy horde of peeps, and they look like the little peeps too. It's fun.
Yeah.
So I really want to play that one.
Yeah, you want to draw a lot of cards with that one too. Like, I think there's a rule like if you don't have any what are they called, attack cards?
Encounter
then you
cards?
can just encounter cards. Then you can just like draw a new hand of 7 cards or something. If you did that, then you get 7 ships right there.
Yeah, it's just it'll be fun because it'll be like madness. It'll just like ships constantly, and
Yeah.
I wonder how people will play against that, and
Yeah,
if
they
there's
probably
anything
try to,
stopping the horde, or if it's just like
too
it'd be fun.
powerful.
I
Yeah,
hope I hope that
that would be interesting.
being a little selfish that I'm the one who gets it if I play, not someone else, because I really
Yeah.
want to play it. And then there's this one just looked creepy. I don't necessarily want to play it, but he just looks so creepy. This xenophile. He's all like, "Ugh," like all over the. I think that's called the.
I think that's the hate. Yeah.
Yeah, the hate. But it's just ugh.
It's a creepy alien.
He's creepy. It says you have the power of welcoming. As it doesn't look like welcoming. It looks like molestation or something.
Yes.
But anyways, use this power to add or subtract 3 from your side's total for each foreign colony in your home system. You do not lose this power because of having too few colonies. That's cool. Yeah, so you get the power to creepily invite yourself. Yeah.
There's one I would like to play is called the Claw.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget exactly how it works, but the picture is like this giant portal, this giant claw coming out, like grabbing some giant creature, and just to emphasize that the claw is even bigger than everything else. And I'll have to find it because it's just so weird looking, and it has this kind of weird grabby mechanic there, where like you just come out and you just grab a planet or something weird. I'll find it. I'll find it. I promise. Please go on without me.
Gosh, there's so many kinds. Is there any? Actually, no. Let me go back to a little bit more about the game first before I ask questions about like adding things to it. Not that it already doesn't have a million characters and everything, but
I also would love to play as a character that has like an alternate win condition. Like the masochist is the one where if you lose all your ships, you win.
Yeah.
Or like TikTok, I think. Like after just a certain amount of time, he automatically wins, so you kind of have to win before the end of that time.
Right.
But the Claw.
Okay.
Here, I don't know if you can see it. The Claw.
Yeah.
See, it says game setup. Choose one non-negotiate card from your starting hand to be your Claw, and place it face down on this sheet. Then draw a card from the deck. You have the power of the Claw. Your Claw is not considered part of your hand. Other players may not look at it or draw it. At the start of any regroup phase, you may swap a card from your hand with your Claw. Once per encounter, when another player plays another copy of the card you have chosen as your Claw, use this power and reveal your Claw. After the end of the current encounter, choose a planet in that player's home system and move it into your home system, sending any ships on it to the warp and making it a new home planet for yourself.
Jeez.
Nice.
Yeah, then return
crazy.
your Claw card to your hand and choose a card from your hand to become your new Claw. Each stolen planet in your home system counts as a foreign colony towards your win, even if inhabited by other players. If you gain a colony on a stolen planet in your home system, that colony counts as a home colony. So yeah, you basically just like grab planets.
Steal people's planets and then you.
Oh,
That
God.
just sounds like so much fun.
I just
sounds
thought of
fun.
like the best game ever.
Uh,
Like, or what would you? Okay, if you could take, like, say you have 8 people and just pick the most ridiculous races and just stick them all in one game and see what happens. Like crazy. Like put the horde in with the claw and with like the mirror and with the fungus.
Put the fungus and the horde together, there'd be tons of horde tokens. Oh wait, I think maybe if the fungus eats the horde tokens, I think they go to the war, possibly. I'm not sure.
But just like
Let's
the
pretend they
most
don't.
mayhem game ever. Like just pick the races that would be so insane with each other.
Yeah.
And just like watch it like just go crazy.
All the overpowered. powered races.
I've thought about doing that in the past, but I've also felt like the longevity of the game is kind of key, or not choosing specifically the races is kind of part of the longevity of the game. You know, like if we all just chose whatever race we wanted to play, or made, you know, whatever, if we set it up too preemptively, I feel like we would end up just playing the scenarios that we want. Although I guess it wouldn't hurt to at least once.
Just once.
Like, yeah, go play the alien race you want to play.
Then maybe you'll never be able to compare a normal game again. You'll just be like, that one game where we all chose the races was amazing.
Exactly.
It could have been amazing, or maybe it would be so horrible that we would never want to play again. It's like, oh, the madness. It was like horrible.
I have heard about alternate ways of playing the game, which mixes it up. I mean, one alternate version, which I think is a really neat one, is that everyone starts the game with their alien race card hidden, so no one knows what race you have, and you cannot use that race's power unless you reveal it. So that's kind of the downside to keeping it secret. However, keeping it secret might be beneficial to you if you wait for that moment, you know, especially if you're like the masochist, right? The guy who wins when all of his ships are destroyed. Well, you might keep your ability secret until almost all your ships are destroyed, you know, or something. The other thing that I thought was kind of an interesting alternative, which could get really, really crazy, and they only suggest this for seasoned players, is to actually play with 2 alien race cards per player instead of just one, and the abilities combined, basically.
Oh, man.
Oh my god. Oh, imagine the Horde and the Fungus together.
Yes!
Just have tons of ships and then just eat all of their ships.
Yeah.
You just have everybody's ships to yourself.
Oh my goodness.
That would be unbeatable.
That'd be so crazy. I can't. Oh
Make
god.
Tokens, eat your regular tokens, and now have a 20% ship.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
That sounds interesting. I wouldn't mind trying that the next time we play.
The 2 races or the hidden?
Yeah. Well, either way, I think the 2 races would be more interesting.
Yeah.
The hidden sounds like it makes it hard to gauge which race is overpowered, obviously. And like you were saying, the masochist, like, will just win on the spot. So it sounds a little,
Yeah, and how could you hide
unbalanced.
some of your abilities, though? Like, if you're the mirror, how are you gonna
Well,
immediately
you just
can't
don't
really
use
hide
it.
Well, no, that's the thing. The rule is you don't have an ability until you reveal your race card. So everyone basically has no ability until they reveal their race.
Is that on? Did you say that's by their choice when they feel like revealing it?
Yeah. When they want to use their ability, they'll reveal the card.
But what if it's a mandatory? Then you'd immediately have to.
No,
you don't reveal it, then you don't have it.
Yeah,
So.
it just doesn't exist until you reveal it.
Okay, so then mandatory is kind of thrown out of the window until it's revealed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there's some other alternates too. Let me see. Ah, it's so warm in here. Hold on. I now have to open my door. Let's see what other alternates they. Variants. 4 planets. Just for.
Is it a train sound?
That's my fault. There's a train nearby.
Oh, I thought you said that's my phone, and I'm like, what?
No, my phone. Just in my area.
Does it make everything rumble?
No, I'm far enough away where that doesn't happen,
okay.
thankfully.
Whenever we go to the vet's office, there's a train right there, and so the whole office shakes when the train goes by. It's the weirdest thing.
Sounds like it could freak out the animals there too.
You know, I think probably the ones that are like boarded or whatever. I don't know. I don't hear them like building. Oh, maybe they probably do get freaked out, but They don't really seem to notice that much. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
the
because it's
variants
the
the
technology.
variants that are included in the rulebook are 4 planets, so everyone just has 4 planets instead of 5. It's, I guess, meant for a faster game.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Oh, and you only need 4 foreign colonies, so it's just for faster games.
Okay.
Then
Yeah.
hidden powers, obviously. Another one called
so that is
another one of
one.
these. What?
That is one then. That though I thought that was one you made up, but that is
No,
a
no, no,
variant. The hidden
no.
power.
I didn't make up any of these.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
Another one's called rotating powers, which I don't think it sounds more like work than anything else. But it's basically the offense draws a new alien sheet at the start of his or her turn. The
Oh.
offense may choose to keep either the old or the new alien sheet, which just sounds like work to me.
Although
Yeah.
that would be a kind of interesting way to get to be able to play all the characters, all the aliens.
That's
Yeah,
true.
if you really wanted to jump around.
Yeah.
Let's see, freewheeling flares. Players may use as many flares as they wish during each encounter, although each flare may only be used once per encounter.
I
Well, this
thought
is
you can
actually a
use
rule
more
we
than.
kind of already do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
What do you
thought we
think
could
about the
use all of the
flares?
I love
They
them.
do
They're
their
they're
job.
fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My favorite is the what is it? The filch flare, which
Oh yeah.
if you have the flare and you're the filch, or no, I think it's if you're anyone but the filch, and you have the flare, you can basically cheat. You can like just draw a card, or discard a card, or
Mm.
take some ships back, or move some ships. Like you can basically just cheat, and
Oh,
unless someone catches you, you can do it as much as you want, which is
yeah. It's
I
kind of
like
actually a
crazy.
lot of fun.
I like how like sometimes you'll use those cards as like bargaining tools to get people to side with you.
Yeah,
Like you're kind of like I don't know if you're really supposed to do this, but we have where you're kind of like hinting at the fact that you have something that somebody would want,
yeah,
and I'll trade it with you if if you have that kind of ability, or I'll use it,
yeah.
or whatever. But
And that was actually one of the things I had been thinking about, because I thought that like I would really like more player interaction in terms of like trading and stuff. Like I'd love to be able to just trade cards or without just having to negotiate, or like offer ships and things like that. Like I'll give you 2 ships, and you just they use 2 ships or something like that. I mean, within reason. There's certain limitations in the game that you couldn't. Uh, you know, I'm not suggesting it breaks certain rules, but I think it'd be interesting to have that leverage. Um, I wonder if how that would change the game, because there's really no rules I can think of that state that you can't do certain things. And it might be necessary for certain rules to exist so that people can't hold it over your head. Like you're not. I don't think you're. I don't think there's a rule that states you're not allowed to show someone your hand, which would lead me to believe that if someone asks you to show them your hand, you don't have to do it. But if you don't do it, that means you are
hiding
possibly
something.
hiding something. And so
No,
if there was a
you
rule in
shouldn't
place.
hide your hand.
Yeah, if there was a rule in place that stated you can't show each other your hands, you just go, well, I can't because that's the rule.
Right.
So I don't know. It's curious.
Yeah.
Robert, did you have any particular questions you wanted to ask?
Um,
Or are we kind of like
oh,
gone
actually,
over a lot of the things?
yeah. Because it's something I've thought about. What do you guys think about the components and how the game's laid out? Like, the ships and the planets and the warp and the cards and all that stuff. What are your guys' thoughts? Because I have a few thoughts on that.
I like how it's not like a traditional board. I like that you have these separate planet pieces and these little ships, and I just like that. I feel like, yeah, like what Robert's showing. I just think it's interesting. It's the first time I had seen a game that was like that. Yeah, I mean, I really like the way it looks. I mean, I think it's a fun way to play it.
No, and I agree 100% with the fact that it's not like a traditional board, and that everyone, instead of having like one board that's got 5 planets on it, you actually have 5 separate planets, and that your
kind of
ships
makes you feel like it's yours.
Yeah.
You know, it's really, you have your own territory. It's really like your territory.
And you can kind of set them up in any formation you want. That that's just, I mean, it's not necessary, but it's kind of fun to be able to do that.
I like the little stacking on the ships. I think that's really fun. It kind of makes it, it really is a great way to show the kind of defense you have on your planet.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep talking. I want to show you some of the old versions of it.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few of them. I couldn't figure out which one was the oldest and the newest, and which one's the one that we have. Do we have the latest one?
We have the latest version.
Okay, I figured we did.
Let's see the original.
It's always been separate, though, right? It's never been on a completely like one piece board.
Not necessarily. Like, well, there's been some variants. And actually, the one, where is it here? I'll show this. Share my screen. This thing here. Can you guys see my mouse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you can see it here, but in this, it's actually got, like, the ships, the stackable ships are like these little rocket-shaped things instead of UFOs. Your alien race card has, like, a stand, which is kind of cool. Part of me kind of wishes I still had a stand. But the actual planets were not separate. They were like these little pallets that could be connected to the warp. You could separate them, but you could also connect it to the warp. And it was kind of a neat idea, but it's almost more fancy than it needs to be. I like the way it is now with the modular, and I think the ships fit a little better.
I feel like it's a lot cleaner now.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
It feels kind of jumbled in there. It's real like compact, and I don't know. I really do like the way it is now.
Ugh. I don't know if that's a homemade version of the game or if that's an old version, but that's ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad.
That looks like something from like the 70s or the 80s.
Yeah. Here's old alien race cards. Very.
Yeah, that's like
we lost. Oh,
version.
yeah. Let me click on your thing.
Very old.
There we go.
Let's see. What else? Yeah. Yeah, I for the most part I like all the components. The only thing I
love the artwork too for the aliens. I think it's really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely fun. I would say my only complaint is the way the score track works, because the warp, I'll pull it out. The warp is this disc, and this is where you put all the ships when they're destroyed, and you've got these numbers here that indicate, how many foreign colonies you have. But the way you keep track is you have these little discs that kind of hang off the edge here, and they stack up, and those get knocked around so much that it's kind of ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it was maybe this, but maybe a little bigger, and it was just like, like maybe little pieces that you just set on here, different colored pieces, little wooden pieces, or little plastic ships or something, or even just like, I don't know, spaces.
It could be an extra ship, like of your color. I mean, you know who's who.
Well, I was even thinking what might be really interesting is to play a variation of the game where you don't have a score track and that you just have a warp, and that you can only win when you have 5 foreign colonies, but people have to keep track of that. If they're not paying attention, they could actually lose because they don't realize the person who is about to get their 5th colony. And that might
I
be,
could sneak up on you. It would be kind of interesting.
yeah, and I think that would be neat. That would be an interesting aspect of the game because it would actually, it would require a little more attention. I mean, the book already encourages you to tell people when someone's about to win. And so if that was a little bit more necessary to actually tell people and keep track of things, someone could win a battle and be like, all right, I won. What? Oh, I didn't know it. Ah!
Yeah.
So, I'd like to play that variation.
That would be fun. Yeah, and it wouldn't be too complicated to, as long as you're counting, like you see the person's ships on the other colonies. It's not,
Yeah.
hard
On the
to
other
keep track
hand,
of.
you could have someone who gets 5 foreign colonies and doesn't realize it, and the game keeps progressing, which doesn't necessarily ruin the game. It's just, it's kind of like, well, if you're not paying attention, then someone else might change that fact, or someone else might also get 5 and then call it, and then they, you add them up and you realize, oh, I won too.
Maybe they get penalized if they don't notice themselves. Kind of like in Uno when you don't say Uno.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
It's like, I won, or whatever, or something like
Bingo.
that. Where if you don't,
Yeah, bingo.
yeah, bingo. If you don't announce it, you kind of, maybe you lose a couple.
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that. That'd be kind of mean, but.
But yeah, I really like the components for
Make
the
you
most
more
part.
attentive.
I don't think I would change them much, honestly.
Yeah.
They're pretty solid.
Yeah, I think I agree. Just the victory point system of showing the colonies, that's a little iffy. But the rest of the stuff I love. I like how it's set up.
Oh, actually, one other thing I think would be kind of nice is when you play attack cards, because people are usually facing each other, when you flip an attack card over, there's a split second sometimes where you don't quite know if it's like a 6 or a 9, right? Because of the angle you're looking at it at, the perspective. And I think it'd be maybe nice if they actually had like the numbers in the corners like they do traditional playing cards, so that when you flip it over, it's just an easier glance. I mean, it's a minor thing, but it's something I notice. Every time a card's flipped over, usually it has to be rotated or something so everyone can see it. But that's so minor. I mean, it's not game breaking, but it's a thought.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's currently 8:02. I guess that's our hour. But is there any quick wrap-up comments that anyone would like to make?
Cosmic Encounter is an excellent game. You should try it until you know that you like it, because it's a really fun game, and one of the reasons I absolutely love it is the fact that it's so it's an extremely social game, and that can be great if you have the right people. It can also be bad if you have the wrong people. I mean, there's only a few people I play the game with that make it a little bit bitter sometimes, but for the most part I always have a great time because the social interaction is such a blast, and allying with your friends and stabbing your friends in the back can be some of the best times ever.
Especially when I stab you in the back, Robert. That's always fun.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I will never hurt you like that again.
That's right. That's how it all started, Cosmic Encounter. That's how the rivalry began.
Yes.
You lied to me, and that's why
Just once.
I'll never forget. Never,
Just once,
ever.
never again.
Anyway, so if anyone hasn't played Cosmic Encounter or doesn't have it and has played it with your friends, you can get it on Amazon.com. You can look it up on Game Board Geek. I'm sure there's a million other places to purchase it. And if you are interested in what we're doing, you can go to unchartedinteractive.com. Obviously, we're on G Plus and Facebook and Twitter, so follow us on those. And we will see you next time. Let's see what date. June 30th. Yeah, that's the last Sunday of the month. This month we only did it earlier because next week we are going to Fanime. So I'm going to probably post some cosplay pictures up on G Plus to show my costumes off for fun. So look for those next week. And hope everyone has a good Memorial Day. And thank you guys for joining me. And you will see us next month. I don't know what the game is yet. I don't know. I'll figure that out.
We'll figure that
Yeah.
out.
Woo! What's another one? I don't know. That didn't work. Oh, I just hit 2. Whatever. All right. Bye.
Yeah.